Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to another episode from the Hermitcraft server. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I am having a pretty fantastic day. I know it's been, I don't know, week and a half, something like that, since my last upload, other than that brief update video that I uploaded about a week ago. If you didn't see that, basically, my mom was visiting from, she came down from Wisconsin to visit my wife and I, and she was here for about a week. And we're also looking for a dog to add to the family. So I've just been really busy with like real life stuff, IRL stuff. And, you know, I kind of felt like while my mom was visiting, it probably wasn't best to, you know, spend all my time in my office recording videos. So I just kind of took a little bit of a break while my mom was here. But she's gone now. She's back in Wisconsin. And here we are. So today we're going to talk about the last week because I've got a lot of really cool kind of stuff to talk about. And we're going to landscape the area sort of around the manor. I'm going to be doing a lot of planting trees and bone mealing ground and stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of a talky episode. And if you don't really care about seeing me bone meal the trees and all that kind of stuff, feel free to just minimize the video and listen to it like a podcast, because that's basically what this episode is going to be. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into some fun stuff. So as I said, my mom came and visited me for about a week. She was supposed to leave on Saturday, was the original plan, but then her flight got delayed, as flights do. So she ended up staying for a little bit longer, which is totally fine. But yeah, the original plan was for her to leave like Saturday afternoon, and she ended up leaving like super early in the morning on Sunday. I think I had to drive her to the Nashville airport for like a 4 o'clock in the morning flight or something along those lines. And then, you know, while she was here, we did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of kind of touristy type stuff. You know, we went to Nashville and saw a bunch of the, you know, went to like, I think we went to like the Johnny Cash Museum. We went to the park. We went to a couple of restaurants, you know, stuff like that. And then we also just kind of spent some time, you know, just sort of chilling at home, nothing, being sort of lazy, lounging around the house, just talking and conversing. We also went... Do I not have a bed? I don't have a bed in this ender chest. Okay, well, we'll go to the bed that's in the house then. We also spent some time just looking at dogs. My wife and I, for several years, we have lived in a house where the rental agreement, because we live in a house with a big yard, big fenced-in yard, you know, live in a house that would be absolutely perfect for owning a dog. But it's still a rental house. We don't own the place. And our rental agreement for several years has said, thou shalt not have a dog, basically. So we have been forbidden from owning a dog for several years. And my wife and I both grew up with dogs. We've always had a dog or two or three or more in our lives until we, you know, kind of moved out of the house. So, you know, we know quite a lot about dogs. We are very comfortable around dogs, and we're super happy to own a dog. But we just don't have one because we haven't been allowed to have one. And our landlords came to do like a walkthrough of the house. They do one once per year, just, you know, basically to check up on things, make sure everything's okay, make sure you haven't destroyed the house over the last year, that you don't need anything, blah, blah, blah. And we said, you know, we've lived in this house now for like 3 years or something like that. You know, we've been here for a pretty good long time. You know, we've been very good tenants. You know, and we really want to get a dog. Do you think you could please give us permission to get a dog? And they thought about it for a little while, and finally they said, you know what? Yeah, that'd be fine. We'll let you guys get a dog, but it needs to be approved. Yeah, we gotta approve the dog in advance before we get it. And we thought that was fairly reasonable. So we have been... Ooh, I did not notice this. Okay. Oops. I will fix that later. And so we've just been kind of looking for dogs now for the last, I don't know, week or so. We have a pretty good idea of what we want. We're looking for a medium-sized dog, medium, anywhere from, I'd say, like 25 to 60 pounds is about what we're looking for. We're not looking for something that's massive, like a Great Dane or something like that, but we're also not looking for a dog that will fit in my wife's purse. So something, 25 to 60 pounds, give or take. It's not an exact science. We're not looking for any particular specific breed, and we're not going to be looking for any type of, particular specific breed. It's not that we haven't settled on a breed, it's that we don't really care that much about the breed. My wife and I, we're much more about the personality of the dog itself than we are about, what breed it is. Because the thing with dogs is, there's a lot of breeds out there that get kind of a bad name: pit bulls, German shepherds, Rottweilers, etc. But I have known absolutely wonderful, sweet dogs of all those types, and I've also known absolutely horrendously terrible, black labs or golden retrievers or whatever. It's not I think certain dogs have a little bit more of a predisposition towards certain types of behaviors because they've been bred for that type of behavior. Huskies, for example, are generally extremely high energy dogs because they were bred to be high energy dogs. That's what they're supposed to be like. But that doesn't mean that every single husky on the face of the planet is very high energy. I have met pretty lazy huskies over the years. But anyway, we're looking for kind of we're okay with a fairly high energy dog. We would be taking it for walks every day for like an hour or more. We're used to that type of stuff. We know a few things about owning and caring for dogs. But we're also looking for a dog that's just very sweet and good-natured and very good with people. We want a dog that is not aggressive in any way, etc. And we're also definitely going to be getting a rescue dog because why wouldn't you? I feel like getting a dog from a breeder, and not that there's necessarily anything wrong with it, but generally a dog purchased from a reputable breeder is pretty expensive. You want like a purebred whatever. I feel like that's just not really a good choice for a first dog. I've always kind of felt that the only people who should get purebred dogs are people who are interested in like show dogs and stuff like that, because rescue dogs are just so wonderful and they already need a home. I don't know. That's just kind of the way I've always looked at it. So we'll be getting a rescue dog of some sort from a shelter, a local one. And we're not going to be too picky about, what breed it is or what it's mixed with or any of that kind of stuff. Frankly, we just don't really care about the breed. But realistically, we'll probably end up with something like a lab or maybe like a border collie. My wife loves Australian shepherds, so something along those lines. Maybe like a golden retriever. Anything along those lines. Those are the kind of dogs we're looking at. We do have a list of dogs that we're not allowed to get. Kind of the so-called stereotypical bully breeds like pit bulls and German shepherds and Rottweilers and Dobermans, stuff like that. We're just not allowed to get those dogs. That was part of the agreement that we made with our landlords in order to get a dog at all. They're like, yeah, well, it can't be, this list of dogs, which is, I have mixed feelings about that. I get it. Those dogs do have a bad reputation, usually because of owners who are idiots. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm just happy that we're able to get a dog at all. So when my mom was visiting, we went to Nashville for her original flight that she was supposed to catch on Saturday. And she could not make and we found out along the way, or actually, no, that's not right. We found out before we left the house that her flight had been canceled, but I had scheduled a couple visits with some of these dogs that we're interested in, you know, because you obviously you want to meet a dog before you take it home and stuff like that. So we had scheduled a couple of these kind of meet and greets with the dogs, you know, a couple of these appointments to go and see some of these dogs. We scheduled those for basically right after we were originally supposed to drop her off at the airport. And when her flight got canceled, we're like, well, we're not going to reschedule the dogs. We're still going to go see the dogs. Like, why wouldn't we, you know? So we did. We went and we saw a, let's see, there was Diego, who is a black lab border collie mix, and he's a total sweetheart, and I love him, and I want him. The problem with seeing, you know, the problem with this whole process for me is that I love, like, all dogs, and whenever I meet one, I want to take it home, and that's kind of not what we can do. We can only get one. So I'm kind of in a position where I'm like, I want this one, and I also want this one, and I also want this one. You know, it's not ideal. But anyway, we met Diego, who is this very, very sweet lab border collie mix. He was pretty well behaved. He was obviously very smart, listened to, you know, your basic commands, sit, stay, etc., etc. Didn't get a chance to take him out on a leash. I would have liked to, but we were running a little bit short on time because the person, that particular animal shelter had just had like a big event where they were doing something, you know, it's like a big adoption event where they had, you know, think of it like a fair, sort of, and they had just come back from that, and they had to do a bunch of cleanup and stuff, so they didn't have as much time for us to spend with Diego as I would have liked, but you know, you take what you can get. So we met with him, and then we also met with what was his name? Cash. There was this other dog named Cash who was a black lab Great Pyrenees mix, and he was the biggest, dopiest, sweetest dog. I mean, first of all, he was huge. That dog probably weighed like 80, 90 pounds. He was just massive. But he was, you know, we threw a ball to him a couple times, and after that, he was done. He was just tired out. That was the end. And he was just a very happy, very sweet dog. It was pretty obvious to me that he had absolutely no obedience training whatsoever. He didn't even respond to basic commands like sit and stay and come. I mean, that's obviously something that, you know, we would be able to train the dog to do. But, you know, normally you expect that kind of stuff out of a puppy, not from a dog that's, you know, I think he was like 2 years old or something like that. I'm like, really? Nobody has ever trained this dog to do anything? Seriously? So, you know, one of those things where, as I said, you know, we could totally train the dog to do that, but it was just a little surprising. But he played for a couple of minutes, and then he was tired out, and he just kind of laid down and called it a day. That was... He was a sweetheart, though. He was. We decided that he was a little bit bigger than what we wanted for our first dog in this rental home. Just decided it wasn't really a good fit because his pictures, you know, we're finding all these dogs on like petfinder.com or adoptapet.com, you know, whatever the websites are. And the pictures don't always really accurately describe the dog because they're either, you know, not very good pictures, they've got bad lighting, they're blurry, whatever, or you just don't really get a sense of the scale of the dog. That was kind of how it was with Cash. You know, he didn't look super, super big in his pictures. I'd say he looked like roughly lab size, but he was a lot bigger than that. He was very, very large, and I have nothing whatsoever against big dogs. But I think for our first dog in this rental house, and for the first dog that my wife and I will have owned in several years, we probably should stay away from a dog that weighs, you know, half of what I do. So, you know, just kind of one of those things. So we looked at those two, and they were wonderful. Those we saw on Saturday, and we ruled out Cash. I mean, as I said, he was a sweetheart, and I'm sure he will find a wonderful home sooner or later. But he just wasn't really a good fit for us right now, so we ruled him out. Diego, though, is one of the dogs that we are still very much considering. We can only get one, so we're gonna, we're looking at a lot of options. We're not in really any hurry to find the right dog. We'll find him, it's gonna, I think it's kind of one of those, like, you'll know it when you see it sort of things. So we went and we saw him, and it was all good. And then my mom went home, and I don't know if it's, I don't know how it is for y'all, but like when I've had a week where I've done stuff like all week, sometimes I just need like an extra day or two afterwards to kind of recuperate. And that's kind of how I ended up feeling. I was intending to dive right back into recording videos on like right on Sunday after getting a halfway decent night's sleep, because I had to drop my mom off at the airport at like 4 in the morning or something like that. But I was just beat and I just wasn't feeling very well. So like I didn't. And then even the next day, I was still just like super drained. So I just didn't actually end up recording anything until now. And that's, but Tuesday, what is today? Is today Tuesday or is today Wednesday? I think today's Wednesday. No, I don't even know what day it is. See, this is how jumbled my life has become. It all blends together. Anyway. So a day or two after my mom left, we decided, you know what, we should just go to our city animal control and our city humane society, and we should just walk in the door and just see what we can find. So we did, and we met a couple more dogs there as well. There was an Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix named Pony. His name is Pony, which I really don't agree with. Why would you name a male dog Pony? Like, that's just a terrible name for a male dog. Anyway, the reason that they do it apparently is they just name it by whatever street the dog was found on for strays, and apparently they found him on Pony Street, so his name was Pony. Okay, whatever. But anyway, we met Pony, who my wife absolutely fell in love with, but he was terrified of me, and like everything else for that matter. And I think it just seemed like he had kind of a fear of men, which is totally fine. That's something that over time, your dog can just get used to you. I think a couple of my dogs in the past have been very, very timid when we first got them, and over time, they just kind of warm up to you and then they love you. But that in combination with all the unknowns about a dog from like a pound, from animal control that was taken in as a stray, we just kind of ruled it out because she also kind of growled and snapped at another dog while we were there, and we're like, maybe it would be fine, but there's just too many unknowns with that situation. So we kind of ruled out Pony, as much as my wife, and I, for that matter, would have loved to just take her home and call it good. But then we also met this beautiful little, adorable hound mix of some sort. We're really not sure exactly what he is. His name is Coots. And we think he's some sort of beagle or coonhound mix. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe he's like a beagle German shepherd mix. That would probably be my best guess, but I don't know, because he was also a stray, and they have obviously very limited information to go on in those situations, so it's really hard to know for sure. But we found him, and he's got some challenges. He needs to be up to date on all his shots. He hasn't been tested for heartworm yet, stuff like that, because he was just brought in a couple days ago. But he is maybe the one we're going to end up with. He's super adorable, and also he was incredibly well behaved. he was just very, very, very good. And, you know, it's kind of a matter of figuring out, you know, there's other dogs we're considering too, but he might be the one. We're talking about it. We're discussing it. So, I don't know. I've been posting pictures on Twitter of dogs. So if you want to see any of these dogs, just, you know, go to Twitter. And I think my entire Twitter feed right now is just basically nothing but pups, which is not a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. And I regret nothing. So, you know, there's that. But anyway, that's kind of the dog stuff. That's an update on the dog. If I had to make a guess, I'd say we will probably be the proud owners of a new dog within the next, if I had to make a guess, maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks, something like that. It'll be soon. It'll be pretty soon. We've got it narrowed down to a couple of different dogs. There's some of them that we're waiting to hear back on. You know, to either make an appointment to see the dog, or just we've already made an appointment and we had the appointment, but there was another family that was looking at that dog too, and we're waiting to hear back. You know, there's some of that kind of stuff going on. But so we just kind of have to be patient with some of it, which, you know, patience has never really been a strong suit for me. But it'll happen when it happens, and, you know, we'll find the right dog. And I'm very excited. Coots is, you know, possibly just like the perfect dog. Okay, this thing is just not going to grow. That's fine. Coots is maybe like the perfect dog as a first dog. He was just so sweet and just so good-natured and very friendly, and he didn't do anything wrong. And, you know, there'd be a lot involved with initially kind of bringing him home, because he does, as I said, he's not neutered yet. He needs all his vaccinations. He needs to be microchipped, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, that all needs to happen. But, you know, that we could do that. It wouldn't be, I'd be willing to do that. So he's an option. I don't know. It's a super hard decision, because, like, as I said, my problem with this sort of thing is that, like, I want to adopt all of them. I go to an animal shelter and I see 7 dogs there that are all, you know, what I'm looking for, and I just want to bring all of them home. But I can't, and it's terrible, and it makes me sad. Yeah. What can I say? I love dogs. Anyway, so the other thing, and this is unrelated to all the dog and mom talk, is Corrales has rejoined Hermitcraft. I'm so excited. He uploaded his first episode this week, and you need to go see it, and you need to send Corrales some love, because Corrales is the man. Like, he is an absolutely fantastic builder. Someone who, over the years, I have drawn a ton of inspiration from and learned so much from. And he's back on Hermitcraft, and I'm so happy. Like, I can't even describe how happy I am about that. So yeah, make sure you go check him out. Also, I think Python came back recently as well. I haven't had a chance to mention that, but I think Python GB has rejoined the Hermitcraft server too. So it's all good. You know, life is going well. Everything is good. I've been very busy with IRL stuff over the last couple weeks, but you know, now that my mom is done visiting, now we can kind of get back into the normal swing of things. And, you know, as much as the dog stuff is going to take up some time, it shouldn't take up enough time that I'm not going to be able to upload anymore. You know, we should be back to regular uploads pretty much from here on out. So, yeah, that's you know, what's new in the Welsknight family. It is, maybe you find it interesting, maybe you don't. I don't know. Either way, it's stuff that's going on, and, you know, more to come soon. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call this episode here, because at this point I'm just kind of rambling. But we'll get back to some more quote-unquote proper building next episode. There are still some manner things that I need to do. We got to do this. We got to tackle this front area and make this look all presentable. Get a gate in. Oh, hello. Someone actually made a gate right here. I may rework that. I may ask for permission. I think I'm going to ask in Discord if I can just rework this gate and make it look more presentable. Because I had something a little bit more elaborate in mind. And that looks pretty simple, so I'm pretty sure whoever made it won't care. But I'll ask in Discord to make sure. Either way, guys, I'm going to call this one here. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Links in the description below, so check that out as well. Don't forget to send Corrales some love. But other than that, my friends, thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.